Author's POV, Freen? Hey Sarah Kea, 𝖗𝖊𝖈𝖆𝖈𝖆'. I have been calling you for a minute, but you didn't even respond. Are you alright? Freen sat properly as she lightly tapping her face, to waking herself up, Love worriedly sitting in front of her. The taller girl just smiled in response, hiding the hurtful thing she had been thinking about. Are you okay? I didn't know why, but there's something wrong with you for this past few days. I knew something is wrong, Love said, cupping the taller girl's cheek. I'm alright, Love. I'm just very tired, that's all, Freen replied with a weak smile. It's been a week since the last time she received the wedding invitation from Becky, and it was the worst week for her. Freen couldn't help but to keep thinking about it, especially when the ceremony will be held tomorrow. Stop lying to my face, 𝖗𝖊𝖇𝖊𝖈𝖆𝖆𝖘. Look, I'm fine, okay? I'm exhausted right now, so please, no more question. Love let out a frustrating sigh, watching the taller girl standing up, taking all her things. It's already the end of their shift for today. Freen started to walk away from the building, following by Love walking behind her. Freen, wait. Freen stopped and turned around before she could open the car's door. Love standing in front of her looking up. What's wrong? Her words cut off when she felt the small body hugging her waist tightly. Freen slightly back away, surprised with the sudden contact. I don't know what's happening to you, but I want you to know that I'm here whenever you want to talk about the things that have been bothering your mind. I hope you won't forget that, Love muttered, tightening the hug. The guilty feeling hit the taller girl hard. Freen let out a small sigh before softly patting Love's back while looking down as their eyes met. I'm sorry, I will tell when I can. Thank you, Love, Freen replied, letting out a genuine smile as they pulled away from the hug. Wait for your sister inside. It's getting dark. Love nodded her head as she slightly backed away when Freen opened the door, getting inside her car. They bid a small goodbye before drifting away from the hospital. Freen looked at the time, showing it's almost 8 p.m. She can feel her whole body draining thinking about tomorrow, and Freen still in denial. Becky is getting married, that's the sentence that had been ringing inside her mind. It's been 5 years since the last time they contacted and talked to each other, not even a single day. Freen didn't think about her. The feelings is still there, she never move on even though it's been 5 years. Her heart feels heavy as she lean her body on the seat, closing her eyes when the light turned red. Everything she feel right now is too much, too sudden, and more importantly, she realized that she was too late. Too late to fight for their love. She moved on. Becky moved on. Freen muttered repeatedly to herself, it doesn't feel real to her. If she did, I need to do the same. But she knew that she can't. Freen knew that she can't never move on from her first love. Freen let out a sigh again, the sky starting to rain. It feels like they knew what she feel right now. The grip around the steering wheel tightened, as she feels her eyes become blurry from the tears she have been holding. Freen stopped her car to the side of the road for a while. Opening her phone, she can see the wallpaper that haven't changed for the past 5 years. It's still the same wallpaper she used since high school. Their picture together. Becky, Freen muttered and burst into tears. The grip on the phone became tighter. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Freen stand in front of the mirror, looking at herself, rethinking again about her decision going to the wedding. Just go, 𝖗𝖊𝖇𝖊𝖈𝖆𝖘, just go, Freen mumbling to herself before the phone suddenly ringing. Freen, where are you? Are you coming? Freen, I will be there in half an hour. Are you sure you will go? Freen, I told you a lot of times, don't torture yourself. If you can't go, then don't go. Freen, I will be fine. Wait for me. She immediately hung up the quick phone call. Freen couldn't change her mind anymore. Whatever happened, she need to go and see her for the last time, and also for the first time in a while. After getting everything ready, she drove towards the destination. The road is getting a bit busier, the time showing it's currently 11 a.m. in the morning. Freen still have an hour left to get there. Freen can feel her hands slightly shaking as her breathing become heavier, the closer it takes for her to arrive at the wedding of her first love. The car stopped in front of the building. People started to gather around. All she could right now is to stare at the people getting inside. Freen closed her eyes for a moment, taking a deep breath, calming herself down. She wiped the uninvited tears streaming on her cheeks before fixing herself for a while. Opening the door, she looked around looking for familiar faces. Freen slowly walked inside the building, and she can see how pretty it is on the corner of her eyes. She can see Becky's parents greeting every guest who keep coming in. Freen bravely bringing her feet towards the two-person who once looking at her as their own daughter, but now as a friend of her daughter. Hello, thank you for coming. Are you Becky's friend? The older woman agreed happily, she didn't seems to recognize. Too late to fight for their love, she moved on. Becky moved on. Freen muttered repeatedly to herself, it doesn't feel real to her. If she did, I need to do the same. But she knew that she can't. Freen knew that she can't never move on from her first love. Freen let out a sigh again, the sky starting to rain. It feels like they knew what she feel right now. The grip around the steering wheel tightened, as she feels her eyes become blurry from the tears she have been holding. Freen stopped her car to the side of the road for a while. Opening her phone, she can see the wallpaper that haven't changed for the past 5 years. It's still the same wallpaper she used since high school. Their picture together. Becky, Freen muttered and burst into tears. The grip on the phone became tighter. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Freen stand in front of the mirror, looking at herself, rethinking again about her decision going to the wedding. Just go, Sorocha. Just go, Freen mumbling to herself before the phone suddenly ringing. Nom, Freen, where are you? Are you coming? Freen, I will be there in half an hour. Nom, are you sure you will go? Freen, I told you a lot of times, don't torture yourself. If you can't go then don't go. Freen, I will be fine. Nom, wait for me. She immediately hung up the quick phone call. Freen couldn't change her mind anymore. Whatever happened, she need to go and see her for the last time, and also for the first time in a while. After getting everything ready, she drove towards the destination. The road is getting a bit busier, the time showing it's currently 11 a.m. in the morning. Freen still have an hour left to get there. Freen can feel her hands slightly shaking as her breathing become heavier the closer it takes for her to arrive at the wedding of her first love. The car stopped in front of the building. People started to gather around. All she could right now is to stare at the people getting inside. Freen closed her eyes for a moment, taking a deep breath, calming herself down. She wiped the uninvited tears streaming on her cheeks before fixing herself for a while. Opening the door, she looked around looking for familiar faces. Freen slowly walked inside the building, and she can see how pretty it is. On the corner of her eyes, she can see Becky's parents greeting every guest who keep coming in. Freen bravely bringing her feet towards the two-person who once looking at her as their own daughter but now as a friend of her daughter. Hello, thank you for coming. Are you Becky's friend? The older woman greeted happily, she didn't seems to recognize Freen. That make the younger girl, chuckled Mrs. Armstrong, it's me, Freen. The older woman stunned for a moment, looking closely towards Freen. Freen? Oh my, you are getting prettier, honey, I almost couldn't recognize you. Mrs. Armstrong immediately pulled the taller girl into a hug, Freen happily hugging back, before they pulled away shortly. It's been 5 years, ma'am, everything changed. Freen said and turned her head towards Mr. Armstrong before bowing politely. Hello, Mr. Armstrong, Freen added, greeting the man too. Freen, you changed so much. I heard that you are working on Bangkok Hospital as a doctor, he said. Ah yes sir, I started my internship a week ago. It's still new for me. Thank you for inviting me, Freen said, thanking before bowing her head again. You are a successful person now. I'm so proud of you. Come in, you can sit first. The ceremony still haven't started, Mrs. Armstrong said, patting her shoulder. I will come in later. I'm just gonna meet my friends for a while, ma'am. Thank you and see you later. Freen said, smiling before leaving shortly. Her eyes wandered around looking for her best friends as she suddenly saw the sight of them waving towards her. Freen here. Freen immediately greeted them with a hug. Nom started patting her back. I can't believe you really came. Nom said, and Freen, just letting out a weak smile. Can't miss it, you know? We already met Becky inside, do you want to? Irene suddenly spoke softly, all the eyes are on her waiting for an answer. Freen gulped down her saliva, she didn't know if that was a good idea for her. It might be the last time they will see each other, before Becky becomes someone else's property. Where is she? Freen asked, a little unsure about her decision. Inside the waiting room. Let me see first if someone is there. No, he said, and Freen just nodded her head. Nom noticed how nervous she became as the woman immediately rubbing her back. It's okay, I know you can do it. Nom whispered softly to assure her. Freen let out a smile before Noe, signaling her that there's no one inside. The girl take a last deep breath, standing in front of the door with a heavy heart. The girl slowly opening the door just to meet with the sight of Becky in her white wedding dress. Her heart became heavier when their eyes met each other. Becky on the other hand stunned with who she just saw. Freen slowly stepping inside, closing the door behind with a smile on her face. Hi Becky. The first words she let out, the first time their eyes met each other after 5 years. Freen now standing in front of the bride-to-be. Freen, Becky blurted out, "You look pretty, thank you. How have you been?" Becky asked as her voice slightly shaken. "As you can see, still breathing good," Freen said, letting out a small chuckle. Becky couldn't help but to smile with her dumb jokes. "You didn't change at all, still with your stupid jokes. Is that supposed to be a compliment?" "Thank you, I guess." "It's not, idiot," Becky chuckled. Freen still having the smile on her face. Seeing each other for the first time again feels so different. Freen couldn't help but to starstruck looking at how beautiful Becky is right now. "How long you gonna stand there? Take a seat if you have something to say," Becky said, awakened the thought of Freen as she slowly sit on the chair. Their eyes met again, Becky's brown eyes looking throughly towards her ex-lover. Freen still looks even matured than before. She still couldn't believe her eyes that they met again. "I have a few words to say." Freen said, "Sure, go on. First, I want to apologize about what happened before. I mean, about what happened 5 years ago. I know I shouldn't brought it up right now, but the guilty feeling still hit me hard, and that's why I want to apologize again." "It's not your fault, Freen. Things happen for a reason, right?" "Yeah, I know. Thank you, Becky. Thank you for coming into my life and being a part of my happy memories. Thank you for being the girl who brightened up my high school life. Thank you for being the first person who taught me the meaning of life, and thank you for being my first love." Becky can feel her eyes getting teary. Freen is looking at her with so much emotion that she couldn't even explain. "I'm happy to see you finally going to the next stage of life. I hope everything goes well in your life, Becky." "Thank you again for everything," Freen added, smiling through the pain. Their eyes still haven't left each other. "It feels like the time stopped for a moment." "Why didn't you show up?" Becky suddenly asked the unexpected question. What do you mean? Why didn't you show up, Freen?" I knew you came to my graduation," Becky spoke, sounding hurt. Freen stunned for a moment. 1 year ago, author's POV. "Congratulations, Becky. Oh my god, you finally graduated. I'm so proud of you," Becky letting out a small smile before hugging her friends tightly. It's finally the day of her graduation. Graduating in law with honors is one of the biggest achievements she ever had. "Thank you, everyone. Let's take a picture together," Becky said towards her friends as they started to take a few pictures together. "Is Tharn coming?" "How do I know? Why would he come anyways?" Becky asked, chuckling. "Oh, come on, give him a chance, Becky. He have been chasing you for a year now. You graduated already, so it's time for your love life to start," one of her friends said. "Look, I'm still not sure, okay? I admit he is a nice guy, and I appreciate all his efforts. I still can't open up my heart for him," Becky replied. "I said just give him a chance, try dating him for maybe about a month. I assure you he is a great guy. I will think about it, okay? Come on, it's my graduation, why are we talking about him?" Becky muttered, pretending to sulk even more. "Oh gosh, fine, it's your day today, so let's drink tonight. How's that sound? Let's go. I'm going to get drunk tonight," Becky said, cheering, but not until a little boy came towards her. Becky looked down, seeing a bouquet of flowers on his hand as he looked up, giving it to her. Everyone already seems confused with the sudden appearance. "Pretty sister, someone give this for you," he said as everyone looked at each other. "For me? Who gave it?" The little boy just smiled before running away. Before Becky could say anything, she looks down on the flower and saw little notes inside as she immediately opened it. "Congratulations on your graduation, Dora." Becky froze looking at the note on her hand. Her eyes immediately wandered around searching for the person behind the note and pink tulips on her hands. "Dora? What? I think this person mistaken you for someone else," one of her friends said after seeing the name on the card. Becky keep quiet as she can feel her heart pounding faster. She still couldn't believe her eyes while looking at the flowers on her hand. "You really keep your promise." End of the flashback. "You are the only one who call me Dora. It's your nickname for me, Freen." Becky spoke as her eyes fixed on the taller girl. Freen looking down on her lap. "I'm sorry, I'm such a coward, Becky." "At least you keep your promise," Becky said, smiling. Freen looked up. A tear started streaming down on her cheeks as she quickly wiped it away and smiled again. She wanted to take the chance to look and see the smaller girl for the last time. "Thank you, Freen. Thank you for keeping your promise even though you didn't show up at all. I understand, it was hard for you, and for me too. Thank you for being the first person who I experienced all my first time with." You have become a part of my life before, and thank you for that, because, ever since you loved me, no one could ever love me the same way as you did. It's finally Becky's turn to speak what she had been feeling. It broke Freen even more with the words she never expected to come out of Becky. Freen couldn't help but to look down, letting all the tears flowing out. She didn't want Becky to see how devastated she is. Freen finally come to her sense. She immediately wiped the tears again before standing up from her seat. Looking towards Becky's brown eyes, the smaller girl letting out her sweet smile, and Freen can see how Becky's eyes become teary. Be happy, Becky. Be happy too, Freen. Thank you. They look at each other again with so much emotion from their eyes. Freen finally letting out a smile before nodding her head. Congratulations on your wedding, Rebecca. Freen finally said it. She immediately walked out the room, leaving the bride-to-be. Her heart feels heavy and numb. The first conversation she had with her first love was not what Freen expected it to be. Her friends already looking at her. Freen just smiled despite her teary eyes is showing right now. 𝖗𝖊𝖇𝖊𝖈𝖆 immediately pulled the devastated girl into a hug, following by everyone. At least she knew that she is not alone. Freen's POV. I sat on the chair. Suddenly, everyone started to get excited as when I turned my head, I saw Becky walking down the aisle. My eyes immediately fixed on her. Becky looked so beautiful in that white dress. My heart started thumping inside. Her smile has always been my biggest weakness. Without myself noticing, I already teared up with the sight of her. Our eyes met each other. She gave me her sweet smile, while I did the same, showing how happy I am for her. Every time I look at her, I keep falling in love again. Just like the first time I lay my eyes on her in our sophomore year. Sometimes I stare at our pictures and it made me smile for a while, but then I realized it will never happen again. Too bad that we weren't meant to be together. Maybe letting go was a part of loving her. Becky was my first love and now we are over, but I still love her. Author's POV. 𝖗𝖊𝖇𝖊𝖈𝖆 for fuck's sakes, why didn't you tell me we are having a class reunion? I literally in my work attire, Freen said, groaning in annoyance. If I said it earlier, you won't agree with me. You need to come because you are the important person in our class. 𝖗𝖊𝖇𝖊𝖈𝖆 replied as her eyes focusing on the road while Freen still sulking on the passenger seat. They are currently on their ways, going towards the restaurant where they will be having their first class reunion. Freen on the other side having no idea of what's happening when suddenly 𝖗𝖊𝖇𝖊𝖈 showed up on her workplace, basically kidnapping her. It's also been 3 days since Becky's wedding. Everything didn't going that well for Freen. She's still in the process of moving on, and it's literally killing her inside as the sight of Becky with her husband keep repeating inside her mind. Hey, smile a bit, Dr. Freen. Aren't you happy to meet our classmates? If only you tell me earlier, I wouldn't be this mad. 𝖗𝖊𝖇𝖊𝖈𝖆 Freen said, rolling her eyes. Shoo, we have arrived. Let's go, and stop complaining, 𝖗𝖊𝖇𝖊𝖈 said. Freen groaned again for the 100th times before getting out of the car, having no choice to fight right now. As soon as she get inside, everyone already there waiting for them. Her eyes slight lit up seeing all the familiar face. They started greeting each of them, and Freen being the popular student definitely getting the spotlight at the moment. Whoa, you really become a doctor now, one of them said. Freen just smiled and chuckled with 𝖗𝖊𝖇𝖊𝖈 on her side. Do you still become the top 2 in university? That's the most common question she is getting. It feels like the top 2 curse is following her everywhere she go, and she couldn't even complain about it. When can we start eating? I'm hungry. Freen whispered, asking 𝖗𝖊𝖇𝖊𝖈 beside her. Guys, Freen is hungry. When can we eat? 𝖗𝖊𝖇𝖊𝖈, what the fuck? Freen immediately pinched her best friend's arm for exposing her like that while 𝖗𝖊𝖇𝖊𝖈 already laughing beside her. Freen knew that she couldn't trust her at all. We are still waiting for one more person. Oh, there she is, one of them said, pointing towards the door. Freen still having the death glared towards 𝖗𝖊𝖇𝖊𝖈 before she turned her head just to meet with another hurtful sight. Becky. With her husband. Freen cursed under her breath. She almost forgot that Becky was also in the same class as her. She can see from the corner of her eyes, some of them are currently looking at her, probably wanting to see Freen's reaction, knowing they dated each other before 𝖗𝖊𝖇𝖊𝖈 look at Freen. She also forgot about Becky. Freen look away, looking at the drink in front of her. She didn't have the courage to see the new couple. Oh, here's our newlyweds. I'm so sorry for being late, Becky apologized while Freen still didn't even lift her head up. And guys, this is 𝖗𝖊𝖇𝖊𝖈, my husband. It hit Freen like a knife, stabbing her heart repeatedly. Everyone are busy with the new couple, while 𝖗𝖊𝖇𝖊𝖈 worriedly looking at how quiet her best friend be. Freen playing with the glasses as her eyes went towards the bottle of alcohol. She immediately pouring a glass for her. Everyone, let's eat now. On the corner of her eyes, Freen can feel a pair of eyes watching her every move. The taller girl immediately gulping down the shot of alcohol. Freen, you already starting with drink? 𝖗𝖊𝖇𝖊𝖈𝖆'𝖘 half-whispered and soon finally getting it. Freen keep repeating the same action, she didn't even spare a glance towards the certain person. She keep eating and drinking in silent, didn't even minding the people around her. After having a few glasses, Freen can feel her head slightly spinning. Some of them already drunk. Freen stood up from her seat earning a few attention. Where are you going? 𝖗𝖊𝖇𝖊𝖈𝖆'𝖘 asked. Freen just look at her before answering. Outside. Freen replied shortly before walked off from the restaurant, she quickly searching for a place for her to sit outside before getting out a cigarette from her small pocket. Putting it on her mouth, Freen lighting up the cigarette, blowing the smoke. It hurts so bad. The sight of Becky with someone new is killing her softly, and she hated it so much. How much she hoping that she could turn back the time. It was okay, it just tiring. How's yours? It was fun, I just moved towards a new law firm in Bangkok. I had a good time working there. You really love law? Freen whispered softly. Yeah, I am. If you need a lawyer, you can reach out to me, you know? I will give you a friend discount, Becky said with a little laugh. Friend discount? Freen mumbled to herself and letting out a small chuckle. It hurts hearing the words coming straight from Becky. The taller girl looked down on her feet before leaning her body on the bench, her head slightly spinning as the alcohol effect starting to hit her. You shouldn't smoke too much, Freen, it's bad for your health. I didn't smoke often. I only did it when I feel stressed out with everything. Why do you even care? Freen scoffed. Becky look at her, didn't expect that words will come out from Freen. What do you mean? I can't be nice to you now? I can't worry about you now, Freen? For what, Becky? Why would you? You are married. Freen spoke, finally looking at Becky. She can see Becky's expression change. That doesn't mean I couldn't be worried about you anymore. Do you hate me, Freen? Stop doing that, Becky. Stop fucking give me a hope when you already have a husband. Freen, what the hell do you mean? Why are you like this? Well, I don't fucking know why I am like this. Maybe because I saw my first love getting married to someone else while I still haven't moved on from her. Freen said. You haven't moved on? Yes, I don't, Rebecca. I suffered for 5 years trying to erase you out of my mind. Funny, right? You already moved on and get married.